believe we're here to grow the mind.
What's up, everybody? I'm GTM Gabe.
Get that money and get those millions. It's the GTM Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GTM Podcast. Today, we got an awesome guest, a friend of mine, entrepreneur, and just what I would consider a positive influence on the world. Her name's Lupita, and actually, Lupita, maybe you want to just tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do, and we can kind of go from there.
Sure. So I'm Lupita. I'm born and raised on the south side of Milwaukee, first generation. My parents are from Mexico, and I'm a financial advisor. I'm also a connection hustler, dog mom, foodie.
Hey.
And very proud of my city of Milwaukee.
Awesome. Very nice, very nice. So I know you're into financial planning. Everybody, just to let you know, I work with Lupita myself. She actually, worked with me with life insurance and things like that. A little bit of financial planning, and she's been amazing to work with. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit how you got into financial planning and into your profession.
Sure. So had you told me I'd be a financial advisor 10 years ago, I would have laughed. I ended up in this career totally by accident, but it's definitely my calling at the same time. So just some backstory. I am a product of MPS. Went to grade school, middle school, high school here, and then had the privilege to get into Marquette as a first generation graduate, and coming from a low income household, a brown background. Definitely. I had the opportunity to get particular grants and scholarships that got me through school.
Awesome.
In school, I thought I was going to take the doctor route because that was the only option that you hear about. It's like either you're a doctor or a lawyer when you go to college.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. So
sure.
That no one tells you about the 300 plus majors that are out there. It was like doctor, lawyer.
Especially going to a prestigious school too, right?
Yeah.
It's like Marquette. You think like the high end stuff, and
right.
Definitely though.
I was like, I'm becoming a doctor.
Yep.
And I took all these science classes, totally sucked at them. I was failing out. I was like wasting money.
Gotcha.
And I got to the point where it's like, all right, like I need to pick something that, I'm good at, that I actually am passionate about, and that I want to do if I'm going to graduate.
Yep.
So I got into HR, international affairs, and public health too. Nice. Just a mix of things I liked, didn't know what I was going to do with it.
Yep.
My HR minor ended up opening doors for me for the HR world. So I became a recruiter after college, just kept taking opportunities because doors kept opening up. I was good at it. And for me, that was it. I'm a recruiter. Yep. I had experience in different industries, recruited IT people, salespeople, manufacturing people. The list goes on and on.
Nice.
But then a friend from high school, actually, who is an advisor now, reached out to me and just sort of picked my brain, like started to ask the right questions about, what am I doing? What are my goals? And it happened to be a time where I was feeling a little complacent, unfulfilled, and just really wanting to do more. Gotcha. I felt like I owed it to my people, my city. I went to college. I had the opportunity to do that. Yep. There's no way I should be sitting at home working from my laptop, helping people in other states. Like, it just felt off.
Like a disconnect. You wanted to be working with your home base.
Right. I wanted a career, a real career. So after 3 years, I heard him out because he was trying and trying.
Persistence, huh?
It worked. It worked. Now I'm like, I should have started sooner.
Yeah.
But I decided you have to get licensed. I am licensed currently for insurance and investments. And so I started studying that stuff. It was very interesting to me because I come from a family who knows nothing about retirement planning, saving. Like
so many of us, right?
Right.
Especially, like you're saying, coming from the actual struggle, and that's why I really wanted you here. I think starting from the fundamentals, right? So if we want to grow our mind, grow our capacity, it's really important to have an idea of our financial direction, right? Especially coming from a place where some of us haven't been fortunate that, we may have had financial role models to kind of set and, to have someone that we can, just set examples from,
Right.
so thank you for coming in and, definitely and sharing some information with us, about this. I think that's very important. One thing I want to just touch on real quick,
Yeah.
how important do you think it is when people go to college to remain flexible? Like kind of with their, like, cause you felt like, it wasn't your field, but how many people they feel that way, but they've kind of started on that path and they keep going in a direction that maybe isn't for them because maybe they got expectations from family or from just in general, right? Because you started off on a path, but you said, hey, this isn't really what I want to do. You said you started off wanting to be a doctor and then you shifted your gears. But I think how important do you think that is that kids, people in school remain flexible?
Very, very. That's a really good point. I'm a big opportunist. I feel like had I not taken all the opportunities I've taken in my life, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
And you know how they say, like, some things will make sense later on. Just sort of go with it.
Yep.
Take what the universe throws at you and later on you'll understand.
Yes.
That's what happened to me. And so honestly, after college, that's when life began. And they tell us, like, oh, go to school, get a career, get married, buy a house, have babies, and you're done.
Yep,
That's it. But for me, it was like, oh, snaps. Like, I'm not a student anymore. Time to work. Like,
Definitely.
that was it. Like, okay, now what?
Yep.
Figure out what you want to do. And once you're in doing something full time, you're finally in a place where you're thinking, like, what do you want to do? What are you working for?
Yeah.
What's your purpose? Like, is this where you want to be? If not, like, what else do you want to do?
Yeah.
I got my degree from my mom. Like,
okay.
For me, it was this piece of paper I had to get for her because I was the first kid that was going to do this for her, and that's all she wanted, so she felt like she did her job.
Gotcha.
For me, it was like, I got this, Mom. Okay, now I got to figure my life out now. Let's go. I'll be back. And so it's super duper important to your question to stay flexible and humble yourself. Like, understand, like, you got your degree. That doesn't mean you're an expert at something or you're better than someone with a lot of work experience. Like, life is just beginning after college.
Definitely.
And the number one thing I'd say is, like, do it all. You'll never know what you're good at until you try everything. Definitely.
So, get out there, experience, try things. Don't be afraid to fail, obviously, right? So many of us. I mean, we all got some, attachment to failure that resonates in all of us, I believe. But it's important to keep that in check.
Right?
Definitely. So,
And every job I've worked, I use, like, skills from that now. So I've waited tables, I've bartended, I've worked in retail and dealt with difficult, irate people.
Yep.
I was driving for Marquette, like the big student bands. I used to drive those in the middle of the night. I did it all. I was a hustler. Like, I just did whatever. I got dirty. I sweated, like, whatever it took. Office jobs, and then recruitment. I started as like an assistant recruiter, and you pick up the phone and have to call and talk to strangers all day long.
Gotcha.
Now I have to do that, right? I had to build my client base and approach strangers and just start a conversation and pick up the phone and call them, get hung up on. And that's the hardest part for a lot of advisors today.
Rejection.
And for me, it's nothing because all those other little jobs put me through worse.
Awesome.
So that's another reason why it's like, do everything. You never know what that's going to lead or what skills you're going to gain from it.
Definitely. So, like, just kind of to support that idea, me, myself coming, from the car wash business, like getting a complete education in car wash. I say when you're educated in the car wash business, you learn pretty much a little bit about every trade. Like, so a little bit of electrical, a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of carpentry. And I never knew how valuable that would be once I started investing in real estate. Okay, well, now I can take those skills. If I have a problem, I could save thousands and thousands of dollars because I don't have to call people for most small jobs. So you're totally right. When we're working, we have to have faith that the universe is molding us into what it wants us to become, maybe more so than what we know, because we don't know yet, right? So that's what experience is all about, is we have those experiences, and I think it's important to stay flexible, to stay open to what all the universe may have to offer, and a lot of those opportunities may be things that you've never expected.
Right.
You know?
And school's not always for everybody. Like, gone are those days where you have to have a degree. Like, people with degrees are not competing with others who have more experience than they do in the work field.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter if it's school or just a bunch of little gigs that you try out. Like, just get out there, sitting on your couch planning and thinking about what might come for life, is not going to get you anywhere.
Definitely.
One position can get you to meet the right person that gets you into your next role. For me, that guy who's an advisor, I met him in high school, and 10 years later, we're like, wow, it's crazy. We haven't seen each other for so long. Now we're colleagues. Who knew that because of knowing you, I would end up in the career that I now consider my calling.
Awesome.
Not
burning bridges, maintaining healthy relationships, not burning bridges. I wish I would have learned that at a younger age, how important it was to maintain healthy relationships. Even sometimes things fall apart, people go different directions. I think it's still very important to maintain, as healthy as possible, with the relationships, not burning down the bridges.
You just never know. You never know if
who's going to be your boss.
They're going to need
tomorrow.
You. And so many people now are my clients, and these are people I probably went to high school with or just barely knew. And I ask sometimes, why would you work with me? We barely know each other. And they're like, I don't know. You just, I trust you. You've just always seemed like someone that helped people out, that cared. And so that's why you're my advisor now. And I'm like, that's awesome. And you think about, this is why you have to do well, have good intentions, be nice to everyone. And don't burn bridges, like you said. You never know when you need that reference, that one connect, something that's going to bridge the way to whatever is next in your life.
For sure. And just kind of coming off of what we were talking about a few minutes ago about, maybe not having financial role models, especially, coming from, where we come from. How important do you think it is that younger people start to really think about their future and start planning at a young age? So they can kind of get ahead of the curve.
Right. Yeah. So times are changing. And I think a lot of younger people don't realize that we won't have the resources our parents or grandparents
Social
have
Security,
today.
all these protections,
all these things, benefits. Don't even think that far. Benefits, pensions used to be normal. Now if someone has a pension, it's like, whoa, stay working for that company. You're super lucky. It's super rare. Who knows if those benefits are going to be offered from companies in the future?
Probably
you
not.
have all these people who younger generation who are entrepreneurs. They're no longer working for a big corporation, so then they really have to fend for themselves. Also, I feel like we live in this microwave society where it's instant gratification. They just want to live for the now, what's going to fulfill them tomorrow, and then that's it. No, younger people aren't really thinking, what will life look like when I'm 40, 50, 60? We're living longer. We're having kids less. Everyone's moving a lot faster. There's more mental health issues. And because of that, I feel like it's really important to take time to sit down and really figure out why you're getting out of bed every morning as early as you can. As young as you are.
What's your why?
Why are you getting up every morning? Are you just showing up to a job to pay your phone bill? What? Well, that's it.
Then your why ain't that deep then, right? So then guess what? You get a call to go do something and now you're not showing up to work because your why doesn't go that deep.
Exactly. And so I feel like a lot of younger people are just robots right now. They're just moving, going with the motions and not really moving with intention or based on what's right for them. They move based on what's trending. They move on wherever their friends are pulling them that direction, they are believing everything. And so I really think younger people need to sit down and think what are your goals? I ask all of my clients in the next 3 years, where do you want to be? Personally, professionally, and financially. You'd be surprised how many people stay quiet.
I believe it.
They're just I don't know. I haven't had time. I don't have time. That's all. That's what you hear. I don't have time. And it's so why are you working? Why do you go to work every day?
Definitely.
Why do you wake up every day? And they're like, dang, I need to think about this stuff. So the earlier you think about planning,
personal,
professionally, and then financially, where do you want to be?
Can we unpack those a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe could you just tell us a little bit when you say personal, maybe what you mean by that a little bit?
The reason I ask those questions is as a financial advisor, everyone thinks Lupita wants to know all my numbers. She wants to know what I owe. She wants to know that I'm broke or how much money I've saved, whatever.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, like money's just a tool.
Yep.
We just need to know why we need it and what we're using it for. So that's why we're going to dive into your why, your goals. So then personally, it can be, I want to buy a house. We want to raise a family. I really want to be able to take my mom to Europe.
Gotcha.
You know, like small personal goals. I want to lose weight.
Gotcha.
I want to lose weight in a year.
Yep.
And like very, very personal, deep accomplishments.
Yeah.
Professionally, it could be whatever you're doing in your career, right?
Yep.
Like I want to get promoted and be director of my company one day. Or I'm starting a business and in 3 years, I want to have 3 locations.
Gotcha.
I want to expand the business. So just professionally, what do you want to network more?
Yep.
Do you want to host events? What do you want to do?
Yep.
For you, like I plan on having, 10 podcast episodes in a quarter. That can be a professional goal.
Gotcha.
Financially, that varies a lot.
Yeah.
It can be, I need to learn how to save more. I want to learn how to invest. I'm worried about retirement. I feel like I'm not saving anything for retirement. I'm going to work forever.
Like you were saying, like living in this era where it's like you got to protect your own neck because these companies aren't giving pensions and these plans for, you can't expect the company you work for to plan for your future.
Yeah.
It's just those days are gone.
Exactly. They own you. They own what they're offering you.
Yep.
And once you're gone or they're gone, the rest disappears.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not making money or like you can't make a living, nothing else matters. You can't do any of the fun stuff. You can't create ideas into the future. It's very like, well, now what? You're so dependent on this one plan A, because there's no plan B, C, D.
Do you recommend having multiple plans when you're planning? Like, so if you're financially planning, how many like plans do you think are what do you recommend for that?
So I work in phases. Like
Okay.
I usually put together a timeline. So from now in 2 years, right? Like we need money for just to pay down debt, or let's focus on saving so you can buy a house in 2 years.
Yep.
Just very short term.
Yep.
I think about midterm too. Like in 2 to 10 years, you want to be able to take the kids to Disney World, or you want to buy a second investment property. Something that isn't happening now, but before retirement. Many people save for now and retirement, but then they forget there's life to live in between that.
Yeah.
So that's another plan. And then the long-term plan. You're retiring now. So how do we make sure you don't run out of the money you saved and outlive that and leave a legacy? So now you're leaving an inheritance behind. People don't think that far out. Like once you're gone, what, you want a GoFundMe page shared on Facebook and then you're forgotten? Like,
sure.
Or do you actually want your kids and your grandkids and all of them to remember you because you left the foundation, you left a legacy and inheritance, and
some change
that's where it starts.
And direction for your family, like you're saying. Definitely. Yeah, that makes complete sense. So talking about that, I know we were talking before and you wanted to emphasize the importance of when you're investing, because now we live in this, now everyone's a fucking investor, right? Everyone's Warren Buffett, which is I think is cool though, because we're in this new technological era. But like you were saying, hey, like now you even heard of people going and taking out loans to go buy things like cryptocurrency and doing these very risky things, which could end up being awesome for you or could end up being a really bad day, right?
Right.
Because you lose everything you took, you lended on. How important is it that people understand what they're investing in?
I'm all about investing, of course. I'm a financial advisor, and I think the earlier you start investing, the better off you'll be. You'll thank yourself later on. The thing is, know what you're doing. I would never guide you to do something that you aren't comfortable with or don't know nothing about. You need to know what you're actually getting into and familiarize yourself, educate yourself. It's cool that this stuff is trending. It means there's a lot of information out there. It's starting to matter, but people are, again, reacting too quickly to it. Just doing what they hear, and then like they don't realize that not everything is for everybody. So my biggest thing is educate yourself. You have to, investing in something isn't a fit for all, like one size fits all. You have to know, okay, why are you saving? Again, back to the why. What do you want to use that money for? What's your timeline? Are you willing to put money aside for 5 years, or are you trying to like make thousands next week?
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
yep.
what does that look like? And then how much can you invest?
Yeah.
And before you invest, do you have like security? Do you have an emergency fund? Do you have your bills paid? Or like I shared with you, there are people just to jump on the, the investment bandwagon. They're taking out personal loans, getting themselves in more debt to actually invest, and it's like that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's a risky business.
Right. Investing and is supposed to be with your fund money. Like now you're saving for the long term. People are emotionally tied to investments.
Driven. Yep.
So they see something go wrong and right away they're like, never mind, they give up.
Yep.
And that's not how it works. And so if investments is interesting and you want to make that your craft, go for it. But also, if it's not your craft, accept that it's not your craft.
Yeah. Look
and
in the mirror.
let someone else help you. Like, find a professional, find someone who's licensed, get a mentor who invests and makes money. Like, just find a second person.
Yep.
Don't believe everything that is out there. Some people aren't walking their talk.
Yep.
It just seems like it.
For sure. Especially now in the
yeah.
social media age, right? So easy to put on a persona that may not be that accurate. Right.
So, yeah, and there's a lot of investment options. Like some people call, flipping properties and their investment strategy. That's a retirement plan.
Yep.
Cool. That's dope. Some people do more speculative stuff like cryptocurrency, which is what's trending right now. Super high risk, higher return, sure.
Yep.
But make sure you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yep.
Some are like, I get anxiety when I lose money. So there's investments for that too that are a little safer, like index funds.
Yep.
Where they don't fluctuate as much. You still get a little bit of return. You're waiting a little longer. Like there's stuff for everybody.
Yep.
You just people need to, I feel, take a step back and figure out what's for them, because what's for them isn't for everybody, and vice versa.
Definitely. And just to kind of piggyback on the professionalism side of how important it is to, to channel a professional, when you're doing something and dealing with something as important as your financial future. I say that, hey, if I'm having a baby, we hire a doctor and we want a professional to deliver that baby. But a lot of us, when we look at our finances, we don't look at it with that same approach. We think that we can do it all, and it may not be our area of expertise, like you're saying. We may not have the knowledge. So how important is it, just as important as delivering that baby, to hire a professional in dealing with your finances, because, hey, that might be how you put your kids through college, or like you said, build that foundation of growth and wealth for your family. So I think it's important that people stay conscious that, hey, involve professionals, and not be scared to take that investment and get, because it's going to be more money when you involve more people, but in the long run, if it's a professional involved, your results are more likely to be, what you desire.
Right.
Right.
No, you hit it on the nail. Like that's so true. And I feel like nowadays a lot of people they want to figure it out on their own. Like there's all this information online, which is fine, but with something as delicate as finances, it's okay to get that help. You'll thank yourself later for it.
Yep.
I also think money is so taboo that everyone wants to keep it to themselves. Even I sit down with some people and they're a little hesitant to share what's really intimate. How much is in their savings? What do they owe? But if you can find that one trusting advisor or person that you can just dump it all out, let them help you. That's the only person you have to do that with.
Definitely.
So that they get you on the right track. I'd say it's a good trade-off.
For sure.
Just find that one person and let them handle it, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Like you're just wasting time. It's energy you could be pouring into something
your
else
expertise
that you prefer.
Yep.
Right. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's a money thing. It really comes down to the taboo subject, because for everything else, people will look for a professional. But for money, for some reason, it's like very private and very like no one should know.
Because it's like you said, it's people are emotionally tied to it, and so I think that makes a lot of sense. But we're saying is don't be scared to channel a professional. We'll definitely, before we leave today, we'll let you say how they can find you. We'll leave some links and information like that. I wanted to ask a couple more questions. So completely forgot.
Well, I wanted to add to the planning as a young person.
Okay.
Retirement, right? So when I ask a young person in their 20s, like, when do you want to retire? When they're still in school, like trying to get to their career, it's like, well, I never even thought of that. What's the normal age? 65? I don't know. It's like the reason you should at least start thinking about it is because the sooner you start, the smaller you can start with.
Gotcha.
And the more time you have to go through things and change things and adjust to things. So,
definitely.
An example, a lot of younger people, they'll work a normal hourly position, and there's 401ks offered, and they don't take advantage of that because retirement's like not something they need to worry about right
priority
now. But my number one thing is, like, wherever there's a 401k with the match, sign up for it. Sign up for it. That 401k will follow you throughout your jobs, your careers, whatever. And now you have more, you're putting a little bit into it, but you have more time. That money is compounding now or over, that long period. We're living longer too, which is good. We're a lot healthier. Yep. So you might need more. The Social Security, we can't bank on that.
Yeah, not at all.
It's said that those in the millennial phases will get 50% what's given today.
Wow.
If that. So we definitely can't live off of that. And then our parents too are getting older, and that might fall on us. And I don't think people realize that. Like, what if you have to bring mom home, and now you have to work less because you have to take care of your mom? Now your income's being cut because you're home more with mom. Yep. Now she's a dependent. Like those little things younger people aren't thinking about. And so when I say retirement, I'm like, it's funny, right? Like, because you're still in college. Yep. But like, just take the advice, start a little something now, and you'll thank yourself for it. Definitely. Years later.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what you said about like just expecting the unexpected, like I remember when I first had that thought you just said is, wow, the future is going to come. I might have to, contribute to, helping out family and our parents and things like that. So yeah, there's always more of a load than we can anticipate coming down the road financially. It's usually more than we expect. So it's good. Right. It's never too early to start considering what your situation may look like in the future, so you can start to plan, Right. So what would be the first step? Like if someone was to come and work with you, what would be like kind of their first step? Some of the things to bring to the table, things like that.
So I first, when I sit down with someone, for me, it's like, we don't even know if this is going to be a good relationship. Like, we don't know if it makes sense to work with each other. Yep. So let's learn about each other first. Definitely. And so that's when I dive into the goals. Like, what are your goals? What are you worried about? If there is something I can help you with in the next 90 days, like, what does that look like? Yep. Sometimes, it's not a fit, but I'm a fit for their sister or their parents or their, aunts and uncles. And so it still works out. If I am a fit for someone and they want to move forward, as soon as I collect a lot of information, I put a plan together for them. Gotcha. And it's all tailored to someone's situation. So that lets me work with everybody and anybody. It doesn't matter if you're, getting started and barely getting into the workforce or close to retirement. Yes. I put a plan together with recommendations. And then at that point, you can decide if you want to become a client or not. If you are a client, we get together every 6 months to a year. And I do that to hold you accountable with the goals we want to accomplish. So if we're building an emergency fund for 3 months. Okay, in 6 months, come back. Let's see if you were able to accomplish that. Yep. I had a client who wanted to pay down her credit card debt. We put together a payback strategy plan. 6 months, we met, everything was paid off. And that helps me and helps her. For one, like, her credit card debt is paid off now. Yep. And then I can now help invest or save that money she just freed up that she was using to pay her credit card debt. Got you. And now it's like, let's reallocate this money to your retirement fund now. Or you want to save for that big trip next year? Like, let's put that somewhere so that we can make that happen. Definitely. So I'm not someone that's like, save all your money. Like,
live a little bit still.
No,
right?
It's like, let's automate your savings and make
Yep.
sure we're taking care of business on the back end.
Yep.
So that you don't feel guilty living life,
That
like
makes sense.
hanging out, spending money. You know that stuff's being handled
Yep.
on the back end at the end of the day. And so I tell everyone, just automate everything. We don't have the discipline
Yep.
to
Yep.
like, physically move money from account to account to account. It's
Yep.
just like, let's just set it up, out of sight, out of mind, set it and forget it, and
Yep.
like let it grow, let
There you
it
go.
be. We'll check on it twice a year. That's all you need to do.
Yep.
Rip the Band-Aid off a couple times and know that you're set.
Definitely.
You're good.
That's great. And then also, I know one of the incentives, like, because obviously Lupita's, a younger lady, and some people, I know they look as, you're too young, but I know some of the incentives of working with maybe talk about some of the incentives of working with a younger advisor.
Yeah. So you don't want your advisor to retire before you do. I mean, I believe in finding the advisor that's right for you. It's supposed to be a long-term relationship. I get invited to birthday parties, weddings, baby showers now from clients because I just have that relationship with them.
Very nice.
We want to get to a point where I'm not just working with them, but I end up working with the kids. And
Definitely.
I sit down with the kids and I'm like, this is what your parents did for you.
Yep.
Now you're working. Like, let's get you started with a budget or, simple stuff. But I believe that like you should really find an advisor who possibly is young that can grow old with you.
Yep.
Personality wise, find the one that's right for you. I mean, sometimes if you don't have the same values, same beliefs,
Yeah.
it's just difficult. There's no real relationship there. It's hard,
Yeah.
like you want to be able to have a real type bond with your advisor.
Commonalities.
So it's really cool. I go out sometimes and I hear girls, oh, that's my advisor. That's my advisor lady. Like your little stuff like that. And it's awesome because a lot of my clients are friends and family. And so
Nice.
it doesn't even feel like work. It's fun. And it's cool to know, like, I got them. I know they're taken care of. The
Yep.
kids are good. It's a good feeling. So interview different advisors. Don't feel bad if you don't want to work with one or the other. Like, find the one that's a good fit for you.
Yep.
I'm still learning, too.
Yep.
I don't know my stuff, like, 100%.
Yep.
So what's cool is I have a team and mentors and colleagues that sometimes I rely on them for
Yep.
information. Or I'm like, hey, this is something I never want to give false hopes and promises or like the bad information. So I'll bring them in and get their help. I mean, I'm still learning too. So working with me, it's not like, well, what does she know?
Yeah.
If I don't know, I don't pretend like I know.
You know a lot, Tina. You've helped me a lot, helped us a lot already,
Cool, thank you.
and I appreciate you 100%. Is there anything else you'd
Appreciate
like to
you.
touch on, or anything else you'd like to?
I just I'm on a mission to break the taboo. I want to make financial planning sexy. I want to
gotcha.
make
Yep.
life insurance something easy to talk about and not like a salesy pitch kind of thing.
Yep.
And if the pandemic taught us one thing, it's life is unpredictable, and those that plan are good. They don't stress,
Yep.
and those that are not do stress. They go through hardships. And that trickles down to other things like marriages, kids, your mental health, what really, really matters.
Think about this last year, right? Mental health and just how being pent up at home. for
Right.
So many people, especially I think single people, had it really hard.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have a family necessarily. Maybe in house you might have been alone. Everything that you're used to, your world just got shut down on you. So yeah, depression was very high.
Very, very. And if you have a plan B, you plan for the unplanned, you'll be good. How cool is it if, you have 3 months worth of bills put away? So if you need 3-month mental break, you're
Yep.
able to do that.
That
You
makes
can
sense.
you can do that to yourself, recover, come back better and stronger and re-energize. To
Yes.
give yourself that grace and that freedom, I think is priceless. I feel like people need to remember what really matters and stop focusing so much on work and the check they're bringing in.
Definitely. And just kind of talk on about life insurance, because, me having a family, a wife, kids, I saw the importance of life insurance. Okay, well, if I cease to exist for whatever reason, God forbid, that, my family will be taken care of. And I know you show me that there's more options than just dumping your money and paying a monthly fee without anything coming out of it. And so I know maybe you can talk a little bit just that there are options where you can invest and get life insurance as well?
Sure. So I think a lot of people think they don't need life insurance right now. But life insurance is the price that you pay is based on your age and your health. You can become uninsurable if all of a sudden you're diagnosed with diabetes, some type of cancer, something, right? God forbid, but it happens. And most people think that other people die.
Yeah, like,
not them,
exactly.
Right? Like they take life for granted. And if you can get a small policy that's cheaper than your Netflix subscription, why not? That's the best gift you can give your friends and family. I don't care if you don't have kids yet, you don't have any dependents. If you pass, there's still, like, a family has to do something for you. So if you have that covered before you go, versus these GoFundMes, which we need to really stop, then that's a blessing. And there's plans like that where, you know, $10 a month, you get something. And then there are plans that are a lot more, they're stronger. So you knock out two birds with one stone, where it's not just insurance, but it's actually a investment account that's not tied to the market. It's called whole life insurance. And that's an option too. We do that a lot for kids.
Gotcha.
And I mean, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty part of it because it's just, it gets complicated. But the point or the takeaway is there's plans for everyone. The sooner you lock it in, the better. I highly recommend that people do their research on what they get. Unfortunately, the reason there's a bad stigma behind life insurance is because there are companies that give it out like donuts.
I got you.
And a claim happens and they don't pay out. They don't fulfill their word. You know, it's crappy. I've experienced with someone that I helped out whose husband passed, and they had a policy that never paid out because the person didn't die the way the company wanted them to die.
Man.
There's things like that. So read the small print. Make sure if you're getting insurance, that company's checking your health, checking your, you know, asking for a physical. Then you know they're doing their job.
Hire a professional.
Exactly.
Hire Lupita.
Thank you for that. But yeah, I mean, people just lock it in and get it done with. Set it and forget it. You insure your car, you insure your freaking iPhone. Why not insure
yourself,
your life? I don't understand it. Sometimes people take life for granted. And they really need just get something in place. None of them are contracts or anything like you. You know, there's some are temporary, some are exactly. They're not binded. So, just do your homework. Make sure you're doing it correctly, and you'll be all right. Also, one thing I get all the time. Oh, my job has me, right? Back to that. My job gives me coverage, and it's like, that's cool, but that's still your jobs.
For
like
sure.
They own that, not you. And so when you're gone or they're gone, you don't have
that's
anything.
in their best interest.
Anything left. And unfortunately, some people wait too long where then they're uninsurable. Now they can't do anything about it.
They have some health issues emerge. They got it earlier. They'd have still been covered.
And that's when they rush to get it.
I need it
now.
I
might be diagnosed with something and they apply, and it's just like, well.
It's hard to get it then, too.
Yeah, it's a struggle. But, yeah.
Well, great. Well, Lupita, could we tell folks listening how they can find you?
Yes. So on Facebook, my name, Lupita Avalos. My website's lupitaavalos.nm.com. And then I'm on Instagram as well, +_PETA.
Yay.
I dropped financial bits on Fridays.
Yeah, Financial Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I've been busy. It's summertime, guys, so it might not be every Friday, but I still got y'all.
There you go.
I share as much knowledge as I can because I believe in what I do, and I think it's very important, and our community needs it.
Definitely, we need it. Everything. What I love about Lupita is she serves people. She wants to give back. She's always, I've known her for a long time, and she's a friend of mine, and she's always been in the world of serving others, you know, and I think that's great, Lupita.
Thank you.
And anybody, if you're looking for a great financial advisor, life insurance, she's definitely the woman to talk to. I'll leave her link as well in the description of the podcast. And thank you, folks, for listening to the GTM podcast. You grow the mind. And let's make this world a better place. All right, Peter. Thanks for coming on.
That was awesome.
All right, guys. Hey.
Today we're here to grow the mind.
Down.
up, everybody? I'm GTM Gabe.
Get that money and get those millions.